Welcome to the TJAY TV podcast, only on Spotify and YouTube. How are you doing today? Happy New Year. Happy first episode of the new year as well. So before I start with the show, because I have a guest coming on in just a few moments over Zoom, I literally thought of grounding myself, meaning like maybe I should do 45 episodes just this year alone. Because if I do 45 episodes from now until June, which would be the final episode of TJAY TV, I could definitely just get to 600 episodes, and the final episode will be the 10-year anniversary, and I could definitely just wrap up the whole TJAY TV series with 600 episodes. And I think that would be a really fun idea, but the fact of the matter is, like, doing 45 episodes in 1 year, it's doable, but it's not doable for me. Meaning, like, say if, like, somebody died, for example, Jimmy Carter, he died last week, and I thought about coming on the microphone and saying, Jimmy Carter died at the age of 100. He was the 39th president. He is pretty much a legendary president. He's been around for a while. I literally wanted to come on the microphone and talk about it because I feel like if somebody dies, either the day, like whenever I'm off, somebody always dies, and I never like get a chance to come on the mic and talk about it. So if there's like something crazy going on, and if it's the day of like something, crazy happening, I'll just come on the mic. Like, for example, let's say, God forbid, Tobey Maguire dies or some shit like that. I'm not saying that he will, but I'm saying, like, let's just say he dies. Like, I'm going to come on the microphone and talk about that and talk about why I'm affected by it. Or if there's like a crazy event happening, like the Eagles go to the Super Bowl, maybe I'll talk about that afterwards, or just something weird I want to talk about. But yeah, I thought about grounding myself this year for a podcast, but now I don't really care about doing 45 episodes. I want to do more episodes, like maybe 5 days a week, depending on if something crazy happens. And I know I talk about it a lot, but I may do one podcast a day, maybe 3 podcasts a day, maybe even just 2 podcasts a day, or none. Or maybe I might just do 5 podcasts 5 days a week for podcasting. Who knows? I really honestly don't know. Like, I don't want to ground myself for podcasting because I just want to do it. But this is the final season of TJAY TV. And, I feel that this is going to be a good year. I got a couple guests that I already have for the next few weeks. For example, Jason Lee is coming back on the show. And we have a special guest coming on probably within the next couple days. So stay tuned about that, because that's going to be fun. And who knows? I may have a few other good guests coming on as well. But no, this next guest that is coming on, not today, but the one in a couple days, I'm talking with him right now. He will be coming on very soon, possibly over the weekend. Maybe we can get him on next week. That'd be great. That would be so awesome, just to have him on. But that's a different story for a different day. All right, so here's what we're going to do. The first segment is going to be audio. I don't have video on the computer. I'll try using Zoom on my phone for the time being. We'll see what happens. But yes, this is all going to be audio. The interview may just be video. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work yet, but we'll see. We'll figure it out as we go along. There's a lot of things I'm working out today. But I got to hop on Zoom, and we will go from there. What is up, everyone? So before I get on with the interview, I encourage you to check out TJ's Production on YouTube. Basically, TJ's Production is a channel that I've been doing vlogs, creative series, ghost hunting, bucket list challenges, pretty much anything on this channel that I've been doing since 2018. If you want to check that out and wonder what I do on a daily basis or maybe on a monthly basis, go check that out, because I'm going to be posting more this year in 2025 because it's something I like doing. It's something that intrigues me. So if you want to check that out, go check out my channel. You can check out all my videos. I recommend the Colorado trip. That was a really fun trip. And the Florida trip too. Those were really fun episodes that I did throughout the year. But yeah, go check that out. TJAYS Production on YouTube. That's TJ's Production on YouTube. All right, now it's time for the interview. Let's get to it. All right, I am here with actor, writer, and filmmaker Aimee Theresa. That's what you want to be addressed as, right?
Yeah, that's my name, Aimee Theresa. Yep.
So how you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I'm doing really well. It's a little chilly today, but I'm good.
You're on the East Coast though, right?
I am, yeah. I'm outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah. Do you hear about this big snowstorm that we're getting this Monday?
I did. I'm not excited about it.
You're not you're not a snow person?
You know, I don't mind the snow and I'm sure it'll be fine. But I think it just brings with it its own challenges. I think the fact too that it's on a Monday, it'll be a little bit crazy to try to like get places and things like that. And yeah, bear with me. My dog is like in here with me, and he's like freaking out a little bit. So sorry if you hear him
Uh,
scratching around or like I gave him a treat and he's trying to. I'm trying to keep his focus on that.
what kind of dog do you have?
I have an Australian Shepherd.
Okay.
Yeah,
We have a
he's a. But oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I have a, black lab.
Oh,
She's a puppy though.
yeah. She's a puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Dexter. Coming up on 10 years. That's his name. But he's deaf. He's a what they call a double merle dog. So he's a rescue dog, and I guess somebody was trying to breed to get like a certain color. And it's really common for when that for the dogs that are bred like that like one in four will have some type of genetic problem, like deafness or deaf and blind. And he happened to be born deaf. So he's he's a beautiful dog, but yeah, he has some challenges.
Yeah, we so I had a pug mixed with a rat terrier growing up, and
Oh,
he looked like a bat. The only So we don't know where he came from. He was one of those dogs that was in the not in the kennel, but in the SPCA,
yeah.
and he started having seizures at the age of like 5. And like the doctors are like, well, yeah, we don't really know what the problem is, but they're like pugs usually have seizures around this age. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. I guess that was like a really fun, like a good fun fact to know if you ever have a pug.
Yeah, I've heard that like when pugs have like a lot of health problems, I believe, you
I th-
know.
I think it's like a breathing thing because like pugs do have like a little snort going on when they breathe, you know.
Yeah.
But
Mm-mm. It's so cute.
but no, we have a black Labrador. She is, I think she's 4 months. She'll be 5 months this February coming up. But yeah, she's 4 months, still rambunctious. But to be honest, like I thought having a puppy was going to be like a lot of problems. But to be honest, she's really not a bad dog. We took her off the leash once just to see where she would go. She doesn't run away. She's pretty much just like attached to the hip to us all the time, which is good.
Mm.
Which is something I like.
That is really good. That's very sweet. It sounds like she, knows you are her people,
Well, my wife
you
puts
know.
it like this though. So my wife says like the first time we met her, because we got her from a breeder, and she was saying like the dog literally just laid on my lap and slept in my arms, and she was like, now I know that that dog is attached to the hip for life since we met her the first time.
Yeah, definitely.
So what got you
Cool.
into acting, writing, and filmmaking?
Um, so I've been acting for a while. I started when I was in like 12 on stage. Um, and I think like I was really shy. I was a very shy child before that, but for some reason, like doing a show, I did like Peter Pan and I was a lost boy when I was 12, and just so much fun. And I made all these like really great friends. And it was such a high point for me as a kid that sort of fell in love with theater. And so from then on, I always pursued different types of stage plays. And, I went to school for theater. Um, I went to DeSales University and studied acting. And then uh, when I got out of school, you sort of just don't really know what you're going to do with yourself. So I ended up, going back to school, and I got like I went to grad school for training design. So I had like a backup plan. But then I got back into doing shows, and then I got into film because when I started doing shows again, I started auditioning in Philadelphia. I kept seeing, oh, well, you need a reel. And I was like, oh, I don't have that. And I didn't really know how to get one. So I started doing like student films and things. And then I fell in love with the whole filmmaking process, because as an actor, it's very different. It's just like a different way of acting. Like, so when you're on stage, everything has to be so big because you have to really think about the audience all the way in the back of the theater so that they can see you and really hear you. Whereas film allows you as an actor to have like a true intimacy with another character. Like you really can show so much just on your face with film. And I just think that's really interesting from an acting perspective to be, you're always taught in theater to just be big, and in film you must be small. So it's really interesting dynamic, and I kind of just went off there on a tear, so hopefully that's okay.
No, that's fine. So basically, when you were one of the Lost Boys, that's when your passion came through. Like, okay, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, pretty much it was just first love. And a lot of people will say, oh, you got bit by the bug. And that's really true. Like you do it once, and then like you just want to keep doing that. So
That's kind of how I found the radio. So I did a class called
yeah.
TV production in high school, and basically it was the school news. So I was the morning anchor guy. Got kicked off the air a few times in my career there, but no, I mean that's what got me into radio, just from doing TV production.
Hmm. It's interesting how you just sort of find your passions, right, in life.
And yeah, and a lot of people don't find their passion not until they're like in their 40s, which is bizarre, but I know it's like very rare for someone who like you or me who found their passion at such a young age.
Hmm. Yeah. And then I feel like too, it's like both of us are in a creative industry, so it's always difficult because um I feel like because you have a passion, it's easy to be taken advantage of. I don't know if you ever feel that way.
I feel that way a lot sometimes.
Because you're willing to maybe um, do something that aligns with your passion and forego um, payment, or sacrifice a lot of time, or you sacrifice um, relationships. So it's interesting. I feel like those of us who have these creative aspirations, kind of put your heart on the line, and then people are kind of willing to just take advantage of that.
And you're right about that when it comes to sacrifice, because like for example, I'm married, I got a puppy and all that. I only work part
Mhm.
time at a radio station, and I have to work at a second job to keep the bills and the money coming in. And I know it puts a toll on me because like I'm constantly tired, but like it also puts a toll on my wife. Like she feels like that I'm not home enough, or I should go quit my passion and get a full time job because the money's not coming in. But it's really not even. It's just the way the business is. Like I don't want to give something
Mhm.
up that I love and then like work at a job for 40 plus years where I'm going to hate my life. You know what I mean? It's just not who I am. And I know like she gets annoyed by it, but at the same time, she also has to realize like if you're passionate about something, you can't tell someone to give up their passion, because that was pretty much all through. That was pretty much my parents in high school. Like, you got to give up what you're doing because it's not realistic enough. Well, I made it realistic. I've been here for like almost 4 years. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I I get that. We so I'm married. My husband, his name is Danny Donnelly, and he's an actor as well. So we sort of are lucky that we're lucky we have each other because he's a actor, videographer, and editor. Um, and I may have mentioned that we had our film Last Known Location. Um, and he directed that film and we worked on it together. But we're really lucky that we have passions that align and that we're trying to help each other grow. Like for him, that's his goal to be an actor. My goal is to be an actor, but yeah, we have all these other responsibilities that we have to kind of juggle. And then at the same time, we produced a feature film. Um, so it's it's really hard to, I think, manage like a life like that. But having a partner too, as long as they're like supportive in whatever way they are. But I have to say, like, it's really cool that he has a similar goal in mind. That it does. I think it's just helpful for us. Works out really well. We're lucky in that respect, I think.
When you guys work on set, like when you worked on set together, did you guys ever get into arguments, or um, was it just like
Mhm.
you would get into arguments at home after everything is done, or would you do it on set?
So we did have a little, we did end up having one argument on set. Um, so we shot, um, we shot this film over COVID. So it was end of 2020. And we had 6 days in a row in a basement. And we ended up using my mother's house. And there was a part of the scene where my character is she's trying to like put like things back together, like a toilet back together because we were finagling with it. And I had a certain way I had to do it and a certain time. I had to do it very quickly. And I have actually in the film I have my character has chains on. So I had chains on my wrists and I was chained to a wall while I was trying to do this. And it was really difficult. And it was funny because I kept doing it the wrong way, but in my mind, I was doing it the right way. And he was like, "You have to do it again. You did it wrong." And I was like, "No, I didn't. I did it right." He's like, "No, you didn't." So we had like that moment where it was like, he said, I was wrong and I'm right. And it was bad because I was wrong. Like I was hoping I was right, but I was definitely wrong. So we had like, that was our big tiff, but I think that was the only one. Um, but it was like a long day. I was tired. He was tired. But that was the only time we sort of, and it was in front of everybody, but it was only like 6 or 7 people because it was a small group and we're all friends. So basically everyone just kind of like turned away and sort of like let us have our little moment. But it was over pretty quick. So
Well,
that was good. Um,
because I know like
yeah.
with a lot of creative
Okay.
couples, they get into arguments over like creative differences. Like for Sonny and Cher, for example, I know a lot of couples who go into business together. They get into creative differences a lot.
Yeah, I could see that could happen. Um, Yeah, we've we've done several films together. This was our first feature, but uh, I don't know, like we were very on the same wavelength. And I'm a writer, so when I write, um, it's almost like we know each other so well that I have no problems like handing it off to him as a director. Um, and that's kind of how it happened with like Last Known Location. Is like I wrote it and then he storyboards everything. So we're really collaborative in that way because I he would show me some of the stuff he's done, like with the storyboards, and then, you know, we were pretty in sync. So kind of lucky in that respect. But if I do have feel very strongly about something, he will listen to me about it, and then he'll change his mind if if I have a strong enough argument, I think. And the same with him. Like if he really feels strongly about something, I kind of let it go too. Like I don't know. I don't but I could imagine that would be difficult for some people.
Yeah,
Mm.
I mean, it's kind of like my wife isn't very much of an actor. Like whenever we would film stuff together, she did not like some of the decisions I would make when it came to filming stuff with her because I guess I don't know, she just didn't like some of the things I wanted to do because I'm more of like whenever I vlog, I do series based stuff. And I remember
Hmm.
one video we did, I wanted to it was kind of like a skit like where she was cheating on me, which was all a skit, and I drank water, which was supposed to be vodka, and then I wind up killing her and going on the run. That was supposed to be like that was a big skit we had, and I know she was very uncomfortable with that, but she did it, and it kind of we got into a little tip afterwards. She was like, "I can't believe you made me film that. I don't want to do stuff like that anymore." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I wanted to go out, end the year with a bang, pretty much, no pun intended."
Mm. Yeah, although I can well, I guess it's hard in this sense of, I've always, like with acting, right? So I've always wanted to be an actor, and I've always like been an actor. So yeah, I wonder if someone who is maybe not, I wonder if would have difficulty even like even participating in something that was, made up or a skit, but maybe connected to it or felt some kind of way about it. I don't know. Like Danny and I joke a lot because in some of the short, we've done a lot of stuff together, and we joke because I'm like, "Oh, are you killing me or am I killing you? Like, how many times have you killed me?" And I'm like, "I think you killed me like 3 times. Like, you strangled me once. I think you stabbed me once. You definitely cut my head off once." Like, we've done all of these random short horror things together. Um, so it's sort of funny now. And I've killed him a couple times, I think, as well. But that's like just a normal thing for us. But I could imagine, like, if someone's not normally doing that, I wonder if it's kind of affects you in a certain way.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe it was like a traumatic experience because I know a lot of people they don't want to watch certain things or do certain things because of a traumatic experience that happened in their life early on.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, Personally, when it comes to me filming whatever I'm filming, I filmed the short scripted series called Pandemic, which was loosely based off of COVID. And that kind
Yeah.
of put me in a depressive mood because I remember when COVID was around. I mean, my wife was working, I was laid off, and I remember being lonely at home and like producing that, writing that, and filming that, putting it all on YouTube. It was really depressing for me, at least, because I
Yeah.
felt it.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
Yeah. I can. Yeah.
you can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, that's hard if you're doing all that stuff, by you're putting it all together in this mode, and the world seems like it's on, well, not seems like it's on fire. The world was kind of like at the very beginning. I remember being so panicked about what was going to happen. You know, that was a rough time.
Yeah, like I'll never forget that I lived in PA. I still live in PA, but where we live, we had a curfew. I think it was like 8 o'clock. We had to stay inside, which was kind of weird. I didn't know you had
Yeah.
I don't get what the curfew was about, to be honest. But the weird thing that happened though, during the whole COVID crisis, I probably didn't social distance most of the time because there was an accident. Like somebody ran into a guardrail right across the street, and me and 7 other people that lived in the same apartment complex went to go check on her to see if she was okay. And then we pretty much just would all have like tailgates outside every night during COVID, and we never got sick. I mean, we still don't get sick, but No, that was something we never really did. We stayed inside, but then like once nighttime hit and it got warmer out, we just all hung out with each other. It was weird.
Yeah. I feel like, remember, there was a lot of people just kind of hanging out in the driveway around here too.
I feel like it was
Um,
it was a crazy time.
it was. It was a crazy time. Yeah. And yeah, we shot a film during it. So that was extra insane.
There was a scene I did with my friend. Um Basically I was getting pulled out of the car and he got I think he got one of the vaccines. I think it was the second shot he got and he said I feel weird probably because of the vaccine. So we filmed the scene together. He pulled me out of the car and then um the next day he was like I got to tell you something. I'm like what's that? He was like I got COVID. I'm like I was just with you yesterday and you now you have COVID. And then I was freaking out the whole time because I'm thinking like I'm going to get COVID now and luckily I didn't get it, but that was a scary thing right there.
Yeah, that is scary. Yeah. Remember I remember when so we had to test everybody anytime we shot. So we would have these meetups in parking lots in King of Prussia because it was like a place. Okay, where are we going to meet everybody? What's a good central meeting location? Okay, King of Prussia Mall. We'll meet in the parking lot, and we were like swabbing people and sending them into our testing company. And then if everyone was clear, then we would shoot. And luckily, no one got it. So we shot basically our entire film, like the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. And I remember when the vaccine came out, we were all trying to figure out how we could get it. So we would be like sending each other emails, be like, oh, I heard there's some like up in Montgomery County, or yeah, we're going to go to this site. I think we can get in. It was just kind of funny. Um, and I don't know, like if you went to any of those sites, it was really crazy because going in and like standing in line and like sitting away from each other in a chair and like you had to sit there for a certain amount of time. It's pretty, again, like living through that is so wild.
I was actually like considering heading up. So I have a house up in the Poconos, like probably a few miles from the Water Gap, Delaware Water
Hmm.
Gap. And when I went up there, everybody but like maybe I have a big family. Maybe like five people in my family were like, "Oh, I don't care if you came from PA, as long as you don't feel sick, you just come up and hang out. Just have a mask around your neck, but you don't have to wear it." But there were some people at my summer house. If you walked across their lawn, they weren't even on the lawn; they were on their balcony. If you walked across their lawn, you would have to put the mask on so they wouldn't get anything. And I'm thinking, like, if you're on your balcony and we're 10, 15 feet away from you, why do we have to put on our mask? Like, I didn't get that whole aspect of it.
Yeah, I think there was some people, I mean, it sort of brought out all kinds of folks, right? So I figure if you're outside, they basically, there's really, you don't really need to have a mask on at all if you're outside. I guess inside though, close quarters, you know, um, then it would make sense to me,
Yeah.
traveling, all that stuff. Um, but yeah, with us with shooting, we had to be super careful. So everybody was masked and, we didn't want anybody to get sick. Uh, so, it just sort of depends, right?
Yeah.
How ventilated a place is, I think.
I get weary about,
But
I do lift part time. I get weary about picking up people at the hospital. I don't even do that anymore just because I'm afraid to get sick.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I mean, I've gotten sick a few times from picking people up, and I swear it's because I picked them up at the hospital, and it was in the winter time, and luckily it hasn't happened this year. But I mean, I just don't do it, even in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me to maybe not want to pick up people from the hospital. I mean, like, it's definitely a risk. Um, so something that so Danny and I shoot weddings as he's a wedding videographer as a that's one of the things we do to make money. Um, and weddings are rough for getting sick. And, he definitely he gets sick. uh, Whenever he does get sick, it's usually because he shot a wedding. Because it's luckily the past couple ones that I've done with him, it was in the summer, so not as bad, I think. But once it gets, and then we usually don't have any until like March. But anytime anybody's like packed in a small room or even not a small room, just everybody gets crazy at weddings. So very easy place to get sick.
Yeah, I I usually would get sick if my nephews were sick. Like if I had a family
Yeah.
party, we haven't had weddings in a while. No one in our family's gotten married. But if there was like a family party, like my nephews would be sick, and then I would get sick, which it kind of sucks because like my one nephew was born in February, which is like the high rise of sickness for kids, and then the other two are in June. So I'm just like, all right, well, do I skip one party and then just give all three a present in June? What do I do there? And but yeah,
Yeah. Wild.
yeah. So where
Um,
have you traveled anywhere for film?
um, so mostly most of the stuff I've been doing is in Pennsylvania at the moment. We basically we filmed last on location here, but we did a lot of traveling with film festivals this year. So we screened in New York, various places in Philadelphia, in LA, in Iowa, in Ohio. So we were around. We bounced around a little bit this year, um, with the film, uh, but yeah, I haven't shot anywhere else yet. But hopefully soon we'll do that.
Would you ever go to Colorado and shoot it out there? Because that's a very beautiful scenery out there. I was there recently, but would you ever go there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Probably go wherever, uh, probably wherever I could get money. So I know that different states offer different incentives. So like tax incentives. So I think like I know a lot of stuff is going to Oklahoma, uh, and I think Oregon.
Mm.
But I would love to kind of shoot anywhere. And I think Colorado would be amazing.
I was there in September, and I have to. This was my first time there. It was so beautiful because we didn't stay. So usually, when you go to Colorado, it's either you go to Colorado Springs, Boulder, or Denver. You stay in those three areas. I didn't do that. I was in Denver for approximately like one day, maybe even 12 hours, because we got there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we were driving from like nine in the morning, 4 hours to Crested Butte, which is like a big ski town. And I
Mhm.
mean, oh my God, it's so beautiful driving through that state. I mean, I never, it took us like 4.5 hours just to get there because I was so excited just to see the scenery of
Mhm.
Colorado. And we actually drove through the state of Colorado the last day. We went to Box Canyon. It's like towards, going towards New Mexico. Then we had to drive back through all the way up to Denver. It took us 6 hours to get back. So that was my last day in Colorado. Drove for
Oh
approximately
wow.
9 hours. Yeah,
That must have been beautiful though,
it
really.
was. I mean, the only crappy part about that about Colorado, like, is the altitude. But it's only in certain areas where you feel it. Feel it because I was in Vail, and that's where I felt the I got a headache. My ears were popping, and
Mm.
driving a rental car apparently because the altitude's so high, cars have problems traveling up that high because it's not used to that it's not used to the height. pretty much, or the out. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, that was the only issue I had. But I mean, I was fine throughout the whole week I was there. I mean, we hiked a lot. Saw random cows just wandering around the the trails. It was really bizarre just seeing all that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's on my YouTube as well. TJ's production.
Okay. Oh, wow. I have to check that out. Yeah. Yeah, I love traveling, the US, wherever. Anywhere I can, anytime I can go somewhere, I'm down. Like, so we we do enjoy that a lot. We
What's
went to oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's the best place you've been, or where's the best place you traveled to?
So, it's hard. I guess like in the US, there's a lot of great places to be, for sure. We both really love Scotland. We've been there twice. Um, so we went there once the first time, right before it was before COVID. And then we went there again and we actually got married in Scotland. So we really love Scotland. I think we might end up there at some point. I think it's probably my favorite place in the world.
That's where my wife wants
Um,
to go.
I'm sorry,
My wife
that's
wants
where
she wants to go to Scotland.
it's gorgeous. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Does it rain
Absolutely
all the
gorgeous.
time though?
So they say in Scotland, and it is true, you will get four seasons in one day, and that is true. Um, it can be rainy, and then like this, and I know it doesn't, the sun doesn't come out all that much, but it does. And then, it can be, you would need like your parka too. Like it's really crazy. But it is gorgeous landscape. The Highlands are magnificent. Um, there's castles everywhere. It's very dramatic. Uh, it's a really cool place. The people are really cool too.
I
Like they're
mean,
really kind of like no nonsense people that are just pretty cool.
so I want like I would go there, but she was talking about moving overseas, but like I just can't handle the rain all the time. Like I just feel like it's just too depressing with the rain and all that. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I could do it. I mean,
Yeah.
travel over there, yeah, but I mean, live, I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, I mean like I think it all depends, right? Like I think if you're prepared for the weather, it's I don't know, like maybe it just feels different. And I don't know, I've not lived there, so I've only traveled there on vacation, so maybe it would get to me. But been there twice, can't wait to go back. Like I think about going back all the time. So I don't know. Um, there certainly is like a lot of cool stuff to see and like a lot of hiking and history, and it's just a beautiful place. But yeah, I could understand that. Um, but they also have some pretty cool beaches on the other side. Like I've only been on mostly for the east coast of Scotland, but I know the west coast has like even like magnificent beaches too. So I've not been to that side. So I don't even know what that would be like.
It's probably
Um,
a goal for you in the next time you go.
yeah, I know I got to get to the other side, definitely. But yeah, so if you and I highly recommend it as a trip. So for your wife wants to go, you I think you would like it. I think everybody would like it though. So and I'm biased, so I don't know.
See, like I'll go overseas, but my only fear is I hate flying.
Oh, okay.
And you could blame 9/11 on that. I was 6 years old when I saw that, so you can kind of imagine it kind of screws up your brain at the age of 6 and to now. And I know it probably would never happen again, but my other fear is just crashing and the fact that we're going over the Atlantic. Like I don't know, it's just like it's a weird fear I have. I know a lot of people are afraid, but like I don't know. That's just my only problem. But I'll get on a plane, no problem. I'll get on a plane, no problem. I'll be fine. But like once the turbulence hits, that's a little
Yeah.
sketchy.
Oh, believe me, I don't. I kind of treat it as a necessary evil. If I want to go anywhere, I'm gonna have to like go on a plane, and I don't really like it either. Same thing, like just petrified of this what could possibly happen. I do think about that a lot, but then one of the things I do is like if there's turbulence, I just look at the flight attendants and I'm like, well, they look fine. They're not
Yeah.
freaking out. They're, wandering around doing their job. And I just try to remind myself that it's wind, it's just air. We're flying through the air. It's bound to be bumpy sometimes. So like I have to like talk myself through it.
So what
So I definitely understand that.
I usually would drink, but when I went to Colorado this year, we didn't have any turbulence going there. Coming back though, we did, and I'll never forget this lady. She was talking to her husband, and she was right next to
Mhm.
us. She was like, we were on Southwest. She was like, I hate Southwest Airlines. I hear these planes crash. There were two
Oh my
crashes
God.
this week, and we're literally 2 minutes, and we're about to take off. And I was like, I gotta say something, and I did. I didn't hold my tongue. I was like, why would you say that? She was like, what do you mean? I said, why would you say that these planes crash when we're literally about to take off, and there are people probably on here that are petrified of flying, and I'm one of them. And we got into an argument over that, and she's like, well, you shouldn't be listening to my conversation. I was like, no, you shouldn't be talking out loud. If you want to say something like that, whisper to your husband. Don't talk out loud. Like,
Yeah.
what's your problem? And then turbulence started happening as we were taking off up in the air, and I'm just like, oh my god, if this plane crashes, like it's over.
I probably would have said something too. I would have, or yeah. You don't need to announce to the whole plane how you're feeling.
Yeah, and if
Keep it to yourself.
and you took Southwest Airlines, so it's not like you're technically the one at fault.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you complaining? You picked your flight.
The only
And
highlight,
we don't
well,
hmm?
go on.
No, I said I was just talking, I'm thinking about this woman. I'm like, you picked it. Why are you complaining?
I mean, the only highlight for me was coming back and smoking weed with my cousin. Like, literally, like, we just pulled up in the lift, and I saw him going in his house. I called his name. He was like, "Hey, you want to come in?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then I just smoked weed with him when we came back. I was like, "All right, well, that was a fun plane ride. Don't have to deal with it for another year or so."
Yeah. I mean, I usually try to have a drink before I get on the plane too. I feel like that does take the edge off. So yeah, we usually try to get to the airport early. Like, even if it's early, we'll be like, all right, we're gonna have a mimosa or two, or we're gonna have a Bloody Mary if it's a morning flight, or if it's later, like definitely gonna have a beer, just to we although you have to finish your drink before you get on the plane, which we didn't know the one time we like tried to go on the plane with like a beer
Right.
and they wouldn't let us on. So the two of us are like had to like chug it in line, which was funny, and then made for an interesting flight. So we were a little sloshed after chugging these big beers in line. I was like, you got to be kidding me, really? I'm like, I can't take this. I'm like, I bought it in the airport. Like, no. I'm like, okay. Didn't
that
know about that rule.
that'd be fun, chugging it in line, and like everyone's looking at you like you're crazy. Just
Look at these two. Yeah, that was us. They're like, made us get out of line and like we're standing there and people are watching us. We're just like downing these beers because I was like, well, I bought it. I'm not just dropping it in the trash.
it's kind of like the
Uh,
same thing with baseball games. Like we didn't have this flask open. It was closed. My dad brought scotch, and he wanted me to hold it when you're going through security. Well, me going through security, I got caught, and they're like, "You either gotta dump it or drink it." And I'm just like, "Oh, I guess I'll drink it." So I drank this whole flask full of scotch, and that made for an interesting baseball game.
I'm sure.
Yeah, no, my dad was pissed. He was like, "You don't even like scotch." I'm like, "Yeah, I had to do what I had to do. I didn't want to dump it."
yeah, because you would have to dump it out or like throw it away or something like that. They're really, really strict.
Which I don't get. Like if it's alcohol, you're not. I mean, I guess you have to like they want you to buy alcohol. They at the ballpark or wherever you're at, just because it's more money for them. I guess maybe I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like sneaking in candy at the movie theaters.
Right.
you
Which I
know.
still do.
Oh, you still do that? My mom
Yeah.
used to do that. My mom's
Yeah.
scared of the world. She doesn't go anywhere anymore.
I mean, it depends. It depends. Usually I get like, it's not even so much that I just don't feel like waiting in line more so than anything else. But once in a while, like a granola bar or something.
My wife will go to a Regal or a movie tavern, for example, and like we'll just like order it on the app or whatever. Like we just order it and then they bring it to us. I'm like, all right, this is perfect. I also feel like
Yeah, that's
that's
great.
I like it to a certain extent, but like if you're like very invested in the movie and if they just come out in the middle of the movie and give you like what you want, like it's too much of a distraction. I feel like
Hmm.
I don't know. That's
Yeah, I
just
agree with that too. Yeah. I mean, like if it's at the beginning, like if you get there early enough and there's a lot like previews or whatever, then it's you can get your if you get your order in and like you get it right away, then it's not that big of a deal. It's like the people who are like pinging them in the middle for like a soda. I think that's kind of
that's a little extreme.
yeah, it is a little extreme.
Are you into horror movies at all, or are you just do you like movies in general? What do you have a certain genre?
I like just movies in general. All movies. Uh, I don't have a preferred genre. I'm not into super gory horror.
Like
Um,
Terrifier?
yeah, I wouldn't say that that's my normal go-to type of. I like scary movies and I like horror movies that are frightening, but I don't necessarily enjoy the overly gory stuff. Typically,
I saw the
no problem acting in it. Like I'll act in any type of film, gory, not gory, whatever. But for me as a consumer of film, I don't tend to gravitate toward that.
mm, yeah, I saw Terrifier this past October, and it was it. I don't know. It was like a murder porn type deal because I know a lot of people are invested in his style of killing, and it
Yeah.
just wasn't a. I don't know. Like I saw the whole thing through. I didn't get grossed out or sick like most people do, but it's not for me. Not that type of movie I would want to watch like over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's a like hard that has a like a huge following. People are really into it. I guess like the more creative the kills, people get really interested in what type of ways there are to like murder people. Um, which, whatever. A lot of people like it and a lot of people get excited about it, but it's not really I would rather be like scared. Like
Yeah.
not even like so jump scares always get me. I am afraid about like I will jump, I will scream. I'm that person who goes through the haunted house and all of the people will try to scare me because I'm the one that will scream and jump and cry. Like so I don't mind that, but I can't help it. Like I do react to everything. uh like I have to watch a movie with like a blanket covering my eyes because I will be scared at everything. But
I'm a big horror movie guy. So I was born on Friday the
yeah.
13th, and actually my birthday's in 2 weeks. But anyways, but I was born on Friday the 13th, and I've always been a big fan of Michael Myers growing up.
Okay. Hmm.
And no, I enjoy like old movies like that. Even the new movies were kind of I mean they were okay, but um I did I didn't film any horror scenes, but I did film one scene where I had to get blood all over my face, which it's very messy and very hard to clean up. I mean, it was a big pain in the ass.
Oh
with
yeah,
that.
blood is no joke. Yeah.
Do you use the
Yeah.
fake blood from like Party City, or do you just use different types of like? Do you make your own blood like without a corn syrup and all that?
Yeah, so usually the people, so we work with different folks who make their own blood.
Okay.
Usually, so there's one guy who, and there's a film that I did called Dirty Jersey, and I played the creature in that film. And I work with the guy, his name is Rich Hill, and he is a special effects makeup artist. I work with him a lot. He's done my face. I have a face cast that he did. So anytime I need to do something like that, I pull Rich in because he already has my face. Um, and he makes his own blood and it looks really good. Like I don't know what his formula is, but it's some weird mix of like cornstarch and like I don't know, like chocolate syrup or something, like whatever they put in there. Um, but his is really good. Looks really authentic. But I have so many stories about being covered in fake blood and like ruining like so much clothing because even though you're wearing like whatever costume you're wearing, it seeps through and it gets through, you know, into all of your like whatever undergarments you're wearing. I had like, okay, well that's ruined. Okay. And I remember like even when Danny was leaving one day, he was like, oh, he was packing up like he had bringing his own costume. I was like, oh no, don't bring that shirt. Like I like that shirt. And he's like, oh no, I don't dye that way. I was like, oh, okay. So like it's really funny to, be on set a lot and like just get covered in blood. Like I've had to be covered in blood or like you're covered in various types of makeup and like trying to get it off of your body at the end of the day is always interesting. Because it ends up in like random, like, oh God, I got blood like everywhere. There's blood like everywhere. Or
Yeah.
sticky stuff if there's like any prosthetics, like trying to get it off of your face, rubbing alcohol and whatnot. Like there's always like random things you gotta, you know, be aware of, which is funny.
Yeah, the shower. I used wipes to wipe off the blood, and it took it
Mhm.
off, but I had like still red like residue on me on my face, so I just took a shower, and it still stained my face, but I just it went away after after a minute.
Yeah, like it eventually comes off, but yeah, you sometimes are a little pink
Yeah,
for a little bit. So yeah.
which
Um,
wasn't bad. I mean, I didn't mind it, you know.
mhm. Yeah,
But
yeah, it's fun.
so last known location, you just filmed that, correct?
Yeah, so we filmed it we finished principal photography in 2021. Um, the film just came out this year, made its first festival run debut in March of 2024. And then we were released um, just in November. November 15th was our release date.
Mm.
So it is out in the world now, but it took quite a while to get here.
Or do you think about ever making a sequel to that?
Um, no, it's pretty much that's a definitely a one. I think it's just a one story film.
One story
Um,
film.
I don't know. I don't think it would lend itself to a sequel. Um, even though there was a lot in there that we ended up having to cut out. I don't know. I don't know if there's like a follow up to it. I probably will. Um, Next film would be something different.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but we ended up, having, it was a crazy process because it was a very small group of people, all from Philadelphia for the most part. Like the crew was really small. And then Danny Donnelly, my husband, who directed it, he also edited the entire thing and did all of the sound design. And we actually had a situation where he had to teach himself. um, how to do sound for it because we needed a 5-1 mix for the film. Um, and we had somebody lined up to do it, but then they ended up not being able to. So we were sort of panicked for a bit. Him and I were trying to find somebody to do the sound for the film, and we couldn't find anyone that we could afford. Like it was like really like coming back with like like high numbers, something like 10 grand, and it's a lot of money for an independent film for just one facet of it. So he basically was like, okay, I'm just going to figure this out. So he basically taught himself using YouTube tutorials, and we bought all of these we bought the pieces to make it, like to make the sound studio. We were like, it was like Facebook Marketplace. One day we're driving out to Allentown to pick up a speaker, and then we're going over, you know, up some meeting somebody in King of Prussia to pick up something else. So he basically piecemealed his whole setup and then taught himself how to do the mix um, in order to get the film out there. It was pretty wild. But we've had many trials and tribulations trying to get the film done. So it's been quite a roller coaster. So having it out there now is pretty cool, and it's actually doing really well. It was in the top 10 on Amazon Prime
Oh
under
wow.
movies. So it's still there. It's actually, I think it's number 8 right now. It was number 6 on New Year's Eve, and that's up against all, like Red One is number 1, um, and we're listed in their top 10 for movies. So it's pretty cool when you think about the fact that it was small group of people, very independent, and then no name actors. We're all we're all actors, but we're not. None of us have like any large credits.
Wow.
So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is wild. Um, do you have anything you want to talk about or want to promote before we get out of here?
Um, no, I mean, just if anyone, like again, like watching Last Known Location is like huge for us. So anyone who wants to check that out, it's out there. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Tubi. It's on Roku. It's on Freevee and Plex. And it's made by independent film folks who basically are just trying to make their dreams come true. So
All right.
yeah, that's my biggest push.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for coming on.
Hey, thank you so much for reaching out and giving me an opportunity to talk to you. It's really nice. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
That was a great interview. Really great. I mean, interviews like this, especially the first show of the year, just make me happy. I love doing interviews. It's probably one of my favorite things, but you know, it was just something that was a really cool interview. Thank you so much again. But let's see. I will be back later on this week, and like I said, there's a big snowstorm on the way, so hope you enjoy it. If you did, make sure you smash a like on Spotify and YouTube. We have a lot of things going on in the next couple weeks. I have a fun group of guests coming on. One big guest who I won't announce yet, but you will eventually see who it is probably within the coming days. And yeah, hope you enjoy it. And I will talk to you all later. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to keep myself grounded this year when it came to podcasting, but there's just a lot of stuff I want to do, and yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. All right, love you all to death, and bye, and bye, and bye, and bye, and bye, and bye, and